welcome or welcome back. Lately, I've been wanting to use my clothes and personal style as a way to reconnect with my creativity again. And in my humble opinion, I think creativity really shows up when there's some kind of limitation. And right now, I'm very aware of just how many clothes I have. I used to change up my wardrobe a lot, constantly clearing things out if I hadn't worn them in a while. But recently, I've realized that I do attach value to certain pieces from the past. And while I know it's important not to hold on to everything, I've also learned that I sometimes swing too far the other way, letting go of things that I end up missing. And this shift in thinking kind of started with this scarf. It's a scarf I bought back in high school when the boho trend was at an all-time high. And I remember getting two very similar scarves, this one and one with black and yellow tones, with my own money from my first student job. And I think they were the first items of clothes I got on my own with my own money while shopping on my own. And I thought I had gotten rid of both of them, but a few weeks ago I found them again and I was so happy because I had started thinking about them, how I regret getting rid of them, how I could see myself wearing them again. And they reminded me of a specific time and how I sometimes like to search for comfort in items like that. And funny enough, I even thrifted a very similar one not so long ago with these two scarves in mind. And that made me think of all the pieces I've loved, fallen out of love with, but might want to revisit. And there's just something about items that stay with you through different stages of life. Because I love when people are kind of recognizable by a certain piece, like a scarf or jewelry or a skirt or a jacket that they've worn for years in different ways. You just know they've attached meaning to it. And even if there are newer, trendier, better quality versions out there, they stick with the one they have because it holds something personal. And now that I'm talking about this, I could probably make a whole video about the pieces in my closet that feel like that, like they're part of my skin. But for this video, I want to do something a little different. I'm going to pull out some older clothes, some really old and some maybe just from last year that I've kind of fallen out of love with, but I know I'm not ready to let them go. So I'm going to try styling them again in a way that feels right for who I am now, to make them feel like me again, because if I got rid of them, I know I'd regret it. And the first item I wanted to style is this jacket. I bought it during a phase when I mostly wore oversized jackets, and since then my style has shifted a little bit. I tend to gravitate towards more fitted pieces now, or just relaxed pieces and not this oversized. But that doesn't mean that the silhouette is completely out of my comfort zone. I just haven't reached for it in a while, so I thought why not try styling it in a more feminine way. So I went with a monochrome look to give the jacket a slightly more polished, less casual feel. And also these jeans shrank a bit in the wash recently, but honestly I kind of like it with these heels because you can see them a little bit more. And then I finished the look with this tiny bag which matches the shoes perfectly and ties everything together. Another piece I've been wanting to show some more love is this handbag. If you've seen any of my thrift hauls, you probably know I have a soft spot for bags. I just can't resist them. I do have quite a few, but I've always been proud of the fact that I actually use them. I rotate through them, and while I usually have a current favorite, that favorite changes all the time. But recently, after going on a bit of a bag buying streak, I started to wonder, do I really rotate through all of them like I used to? So I went through my collection and there was one bag I realized I hadn't reached for in quite a while, and it is this one. I even considered decluttering it, so I listed it on Vinted and then deleted the listing a few seconds later, because if I didn't already own this bag, I'd probably be trying to buy it again. So I think the reason I stopped reaching for it is that I started to feel like this bag is a little bit too grungy for my current style. But I wanted to challenge that, so I paired it with a more classic outfit, a long wool skirt with an off-the-shoulder sweater and some boots. And I think it worked. It reminded me that I can still make this bag fit into my style even as it continues to evolve. Next up is this denim jacket. I've always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with jean jackets. I really like how they look, but if I'm being honest, they're just not that comfortable for me, and I almost always end up reaching for other jackets instead. And on top of that, I've never been fully sold on the all denim look. I struggle to find the right pants to pair with the denim jacket. It's one of those pieces I like in theory, but I'm not sure if I can actually make it work for me. And going back to what I said in the intro, I don't think a denim jacket is ever going to be one of those items people associate with me. It might even be one of those things I have to accept I love on other people, but maybe not on myself. That said, I do like the cut and style of this one, which is why I'm not quite ready to let it go. So I'm going to give it a real try, style it a few different ways over the next few months, and then see if it earns a permanent spot in my wardrobe or not. The next piece I wanted to style is actually a pair of shoes, and they are these Mules from COS. I've had them for about 3 years now, and honestly I really like them, but I haven't been wearing them much, not because they're uncomfortable or don't fit my style, but because I've been saving them. And I tend to wear my shoes until they've completely worn out, and I know I'm not the most careful when it comes to footwear, so I've been avoiding these Mules because I'm scared of damaging them. But at some point I have to realize there's no point in owning something you love if you're too afraid to wear it. And this is definitely a piece that does feel like part of my personal style. I just need to get into the habit of actually wearing them and trust that when they eventually do wear out, I'll find another pair I love. But I think that's the real reason I avoid them. I rarely find shoes I absolutely love, so when I do, I get kind of precious about them. I end up wearing shoes I don't like as much more often just because I don't mind beating those up. So with these Mules, I'm making a conscious effort to change that. Then we have a piece I thrifted about a year ago. I remember not expecting too much from it at first, but I was so happy when I tried it on because the fit was perfect, it was super comfortable, and it turned out to be ideal for spring weather here in Belgium. But I think I wore it a bit too much too quickly and ended up getting a little tired of it not long after. And now that it's spring again, I want to make an effort to bring it back into my routine because it really is one of those pieces that fits seamlessly into my wardrobe. It's special enough to add something to a look, but still basic enough to go with almost every pair of pants or skirt that I own. So I'm giving it another chance and hopefully falling back in love with it all over again. So I decided to wear it with a couple of my go-to spring staples, a very basic outfit with these pants from COS that are a very dark grey, and then this black bag that I recently thrifted. And that's usually how I like to ease back into a piece. Styling it with items I already feel comfortable in helps me reconnect with it and make it feel like me again. And for the last look, I just went with pieces I don't wear that often anymore, but honestly this outfit could easily be described as my uniform. I had completely forgotten about this grey sweater. I thrifted it about 4 years ago and I still love the fit and the vintage feel it has. And then the trousers are from COS and they're another piece I might be a bit too precious about. I really love them, but I tend to save them instead of wearing them as often as I could. And then there's the bag. It was my absolute favorite around 2 years ago and honestly I think it still is. So this look felt like a good reminder. Sometimes your style is already right there in your closet. You just have to reconnect with it. So that was everything for this video. It felt really nice to reconnect with some older pieces and remind myself that I don't always need something new to feel inspired. Sometimes just restyling what you already have can be the most creative thing to do. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one.